What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at exercises to improve ankle mobility. So if you've had an ankle injury or you've had surgery and you're noticing that your ankle is stiff in one or more of the directions that it moves, then stay tuned for today's exercises. So when we look at the ankle joint, there are really four movements that are possible. We have dorsiflexion, which is pulling our toes up towards our nose, plantarflexion, or pointing our foot, and then our ankle also moves out into eversion, which is turning the ankle out, and then inversion, which is turning the ankle in. Inversion is where most people sprain their ankles. They land and twist their foot in. So first we're going to look at mobility for inversion and eversion. These are two you don't want to push hard on. Our ankle is naturally pretty mobile in those directions, and we want to maintain stability, again, with inversion, eversion, since that's where sprains tend to happen. But if you have had a fracture or surgery, you may be stiff. And so what you can do is first just isolate. You want to keep your lower leg really stable. So sometimes in the beginning, I'll have people actually hold this until they learn how to just isolate movement in their ankle. And then what you're going to do is just work on active range of motion, moving in to inversion as far as you can, a little hold at the end, and then going out to eversion. So what you really want to think about is look at your kneecap. It should face up to the ceiling. You don't want your leg to turn. You don't want movement to come from your hip. All this movement should come from your ankle. So inversion you can turn in, and then eversion going out. These two movements, like I said, because we want to really maintain stability with these movements, I'm not going to have you do really intense stretches. Really, it's just going to be more of an active mobility type of exercise. If you did want to add a little bit of extra, you could sit and cross the leg over. I'll turn so you can see. You could sit and kind of do ankle circles. Sometimes this is one that can be helpful for kind of getting mobility back in all directions, but you can kind of pull into inversion. You can add a little external help, pull up into inversion and down into eversion. But again, for most people, you can just do this with active range of motion where you're just using your muscles to turn in and out. Okay, so those are two of our four movements to start with. Inversion and eversion, both active mobility and maybe a passive stretch with your hands. So again, with plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, we can start with just active mobility, kind of moving through range of motion this way. Usually with these two motions though, you'll need more force to stretch them because you'll just hit a certain point where your muscles can't pull you far enough through that active mobility to actually stretch the surrounding tissues in the joint. So if we're looking at plantar flexion and pointing the foot, one that can work well where you can add extra force to this is to flip over. So you put your feet down, kind of laces down, so that you can see right away it puts my ankle into plantar flexion. And then I can kind of just gradually sit back, seeing if I can get close to kind of my butt on my heels. And that'll just add more and more force to that ankle joint. When you're stretching a joint, the key is to do low load, long duration stretches. So you want to go to the point just where it kind of gets uncomfortable and then see if you can hold it there for long durations. For joints, you can go up to 2 to 10 minutes, so longer than muscle holds where we might think about 15 to 30 seconds. The joint, they'll really get more flexible if you can hold it for longer periods of time. So just find that spot. It might be up here. It might just being in this position is hard at first. And then just over time, you gradually increase the stress and the stretch on the joint, and then you just hang out there. You know, maybe you're watching TV or looking at your phone, whatever. Just try to hang out and not think about it and let it stretch. Okay, so that's a good one for plantar flexion. Before I get into the last exercise, just want to mention that my new book is out. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It has programs for the 50 most common injuries and pain issues with pictures of me doing the exercises. So if we think about today's video on ankle mobility, if we go back, there are several programs for the ankle and foot, but the ankle sprain program can be a great one here. Each program is going to talk about the condition, the injury, what's happened, what things are injured. And then it will have 3 phases showing pictures of me doing the exercises. So we have plantar flexion and dorsiflexion mobility, just like we talked about in today's video. We have other resistance type exercises and mobility exercises in phase 2. And then phase 3 of each program really focuses on building strength and capacity with resistance training exercises. The ankle is just one chapter in the book. Each body region has its own chapter. So if you'd like a resource you can have at home to do your own rehab, I will put a link for the book down in the description. All right, our last stretch here is for ankle dorsiflexion. Of all the 4 movements that the ankle moves through, this is the one where I see the most stiffness with people, and there are a few different ways you can stretch this. Again, you can start with active mobility, but tightness in the joint and in the calf muscles usually restricts that at a certain point. So this kneeling variation can work well. What you're going to do is the ankle that you're working on stretching, just put your foot down flat, and then you're going to shift your knee forward, creating this dorsiflexion angle. And then again, what you can do here is just hang out and let this stretch. You try to get yourself in a position where your muscles can kind of be relaxed. You can hold on to something if you need to. If you can get your muscles to be relaxed so you're not getting tired trying to hold the position, then you can be here longer and really stretch the joint. You can even kind of oscillate on it, kind of do what's called a mobilization with movement right into the end range position to stretch it more. Another way to do this, if that gets tiring, is just to stand up and put that ankle in back. And then what we're going to do, people know the calf stretch where the knee is straight, but what we're going to do is bend our knee and do that same position. This will target the joint a little more. So this is actually probably a little easier. My muscles can stay more relaxed. It's not so fatiguing. I could do this for, again, several minutes, just hanging out here. I can kind of oscillate on it again. I can just get there and hold it. You could just put both hands on your legs. I can feel this stretching. With this particular stretch, if you feel it in your joint, you'll feel it right here on the front of the ankle. You may also feel your Achilles tendon. It's okay in either spot, but a lot of people who have joint stiffness will feel it right there on the front of the ankle. Okay, guys, so those are 4 stretches, kind of easy mobility exercises to think about. If you have stiffness in your ankle, we want to think about inversion, eversion, not pushing too hard with those, and then forward and back, plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, and putting a little extra stretch on those if they're tight. Give these a try. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.